Good morning. It is another beautiful day, and we're on another beautiful walk. All right, so today I pulled healing the masculine and feminine. It is something that I am very aware of, and it is something that that I see the need to talk about more. So I'm actually really excited. And also, I'm like, how much am I going to have to say? So this is really depending on spirit to come through. I also want to note that I am walking. So if you hear my voice shake or I sound belabored, know that we are in motion and we are receiving the message. So when I think of masculine energy, and there's a saying that we hear very often, which is this toxic masculinity. So when we hear the phrase toxic masculinity, we know that there is something that is the opposite of that. If there is toxic masculinity, then there is healed masculinity. So when we talk about toxic masculinity, we talk about this, again, individualism. We talk about this need for power and control, this kind of a rat race mentality of you got to make your way to the top. We think about how it isn't normal to embrace other masculine energy with kindness and compassion. This toxic masculinity is this very overt energy of kind of like a pissing war. That's what I'm seeing in my mind. Like it's like this pissing contest of who is the biggest, who is the baddest, who is the greatest. It is this very forceful energy. It doesn't consider others. It considers itself. So that's toxic masculinity. What does healed masculinity look like? There's this beautiful picture of protection, of care, of creating boundaries and structure for people to feel safe within, to be in a place of community. Healed masculine energy is about bringing the family together. It isn't this figurehead of patriarchy of I am the man, I'm in control, you must listen to me, I am the king. It is more of an energy that is the gentle father, the protector, the structure, not control, but structure. And that is what a healing masculine energy looks like, is a brotherhood. It is connected. So now let's talk about the feminine energy. Feminine energy that is, we'll use the same language, toxic. Feminine energy that is not operating out of balance is manipulative. So it's also seeking control, but it's seeking control through passive aggression and through means of manipulation. It is heavily dependent. We can depend on other people. Now, codependency is a little bit different. Codependency is meaning that I absolutely need. I need because I don't trust myself. I need because I feel too weak. I don't feel my power. And so I get my needs met through using an energy that makes someone feel inflated, their purpose inflated, and their purpose actually even inflates into my purpose. So that over needing of someone, that not depending on your own power and energy, that is what I would call toxic feminine energy. So now let's look at the healed feminine. The healed feminine is the mother. It is the empress. It is one who is birthing, that is nurturing, that is tending to, that is caring for. It is balanced. It knows its unique power and it operates in it. It creates safety as well. It is creative. It works in a flow, right? It's not so structured that it doesn't allow creativity to flow. It is a perfect companion to healed masculine energy. The masculine energy is for that protection and for that provision and for the structure and the care, the safety. And the feminine energy does its job as well. And so they are perfect matches for one another. And I want to be really clear that I'm not talking about feminine and masculine as in people, because we are both masculine and feminine energy. Just because we are in a body that is female does not mean that we can't move in masculine energy. And in fact, the healed masculine and feminine coexist perfectly in what I like to call the divine they them, because we are both of them. And one of the things that I love about this reminder that we are the divine they them is that spirit is also not a man or a female. It is energy that is balanced. It is a divine they them. It operates in the healed masculine and it flows in the healed feminine. When we learn how to operate in this balance, we have more access to our personal power because we are operating in the spirit. So in the world, we can actually see toxic masculine and toxic feminine energy manifested. We see this as the cause of wars. We see this as the cause of division between people. We are all responsible for balancing our masculine and feminine energy. And we live in a society, we live in a world that operates in the toxic masculine and the toxic feminine. Anytime we see an imbalance, anytime we see rights and privileges of one group of people being controlled by another group of people, we can see that there is an imbalance, that we're not operating in a healthy way, that we are operating in a toxic energy. So what do we do when we see that? First of all, I want to say that I don't believe that anyone is to blame. I'm going to say this with a caveat, because I don't think anyone is to blame, but we all have the responsibility because we have inherited this way of being from our ancestors, and they inherited it from their ancestors. This is part of the human condition, but it is not a part of our spiritual being. We are spiritual beings having a physical incarnation. Our spirit is both masculine and feminine energy, and our spirit, our soul, that is both masculine and feminine energy balanced. And let me be clear about this too. Our soul is the bigger part of us. So actually, a lot of people think that our soul is inside our body, but in actuality, our soul is in and around our body. Our soul extends outside of us, and that is how it is connected to all things. So our soul is one with spirit. Spirit is both masculine and feminine energy. We take a physical incarnation, and we are here. We are given the playbook of how this world works. And this world has socialized us to practice toxic masculine energy. And because we are practicing toxic masculine energy, the counterpart to that is toxic feminine energy. And people, no matter who they are, operate in both. We are manipulative and we are seeking control. We see division and we lack compassion. So how do we go from a socialized toxic masculine, toxic feminine paradigm into a healed masculine, healed feminine paradigm? Well, first we have to know the traits of the healed masculine. We have to do the work of healing the masculine and healing the feminine. And that starts off with us seeing the differences between that, how one behaves and how the other behaves. It's about us healing those patterns within ourselves. It's about us learning how to structure our lives, but also to allow room for flow. And as we as individuals begin to do the healing work. So the funny part is that we often think that we need the world to change, but we are in the world. We uphold the systems of the world. So it isn't the world that has to change. It really is us. It is us seeing how we uphold the systems of the world, how we uphold toxic masculinity, how we uphold toxic femininity, and us healing that within ourselves to bring about the healed masculine and feminine within ourselves. This isn't a destination that we arrive at. Balance is a consistent thing. If you think about it, you're walking on a balance beam. You find your balance, but as you continue to move forward, because of gravity, you will still have to find your center. You will still have to find your balance. So finding balance doesn't mean that you failed. Finding balance means that you're about the practice of being balanced. And this is what we have to remember. Even when we find some balance, don't get to the point where we think that, oh, we've got it, now everybody else needs to get it together. No, this is a consistent practice. And this is what I think a lot of people don't realize about creating social transformation or personal transformation. It is a consistent practice. It isn't a destination. Even if you arrive, right, you will still have to maintain that arrival. But if you have the mindset of arrival, you are actually in a fixed mindset. You want to grow, but you want to grow to a certain point, and you don't understand or see growth past the point of your arrival. We're constantly growing, we're constantly expanding. That is what this life experience is about. And so balancing our masculine and feminine energy is about bringing transformation into the world, because as we do it, as we model it, as we live in community with others who are committed to it in the same way that they're committed to justice and equality. And this is a part of the practice of justice and equality, not giving too much power to the masculine to have to handle everything, or for the masculine to think that it has to do it all, and also allowing space for the feminine to flow, to inform us, because we are connected with spirit, and we are remembering that we have a driver that is giving us guidance. If we are too fixed in our focus, if we're too structured, then we can miss the openings and the opportunities that arise because spirit has sent us on a journey. And so that even the idea of a fixed arrival mindset is toxic masculinity. It is a unhealed masculine energy. So what does a healed masculine energy do? It looks for opportunities to grow and expand, and it trusts the feminine to be connected with spirit and see opportunities or create opportunities to expand in ways that it can't possibly fathom. They are a perfect team. And the feminine does not give the responsibility over to the masculine and say, do it all. I don't trust myself. The feminine rises. And so that is why the conversation around the feminine, the divine feminine is rising, is so important. But I think a lot of times when people say it, they're saying it in a way where, all right, the masculine has had its time to lead. Now the feminine is taking over. And that is a mentality that will create more imbalance, because it is not acknowledging that, one, the masculine has been leading, but from an unhealed place. It is not acknowledging that the feminine, because the masculine has been leading from an unhealed place, that the feminine is not healed, and that the feminine has been codependent from an unhealed place. And so imagine the feminine trying to rise and take over with masculine energy. Now we create the same dichotomy, but in reverse, where now the feminine is operating in toxic masculinity. So both of them have to know themselves. And the feminine rising is really about the feminine healing from their distrust of themselves. It is about the feminine healing from codependency. It's about the feminine healing from manipulation as a means of control. It is about the feminine filling its place, no longer shrinking back, but filling its place, so that when the feminine heals, the masculine follows.